Hi, and thanks for tuning in to our live radio show. Moments of Clarity with Tiffany will begin in just a few moments. Please stay tuned. Kindly take this opportunity to share this show on your platforms because change can only come when we stand together as one, especially when it comes to ending the stigma on mental health.
You are not alone, and help is out there.
Kids have mental health issues, and we also need to learn coping skills.
Let's get started and let the show begin. See you soon.
Don't put yourself down, time for a change. Believe in yourself, time to rearrange. Be your best friend, bring hope to your day. Lose your critic, get out of your way. Now it clicks, moments of clarity. Now I hear moments of clarity. Now I get it, moments of clarity. To yourself be kind, it will please your mind. Find your joy, trust in you. Put in the time, you'll see how you grow. Many kinds of love you get to define. Find self-love, your soul will align. Now it clicks, moments of clarity. Now I hear moments of clarity. Now I get it, moments of clarity.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. My name is Tiffany Warner. I am a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And today we're going to be discussing grief and loss and preparing ourselves and our lives for a series of natural disasters.
1340
We're
or
starting
on
the video
Facebook
right
and
now.
Twitter.
Let me
MOC
just
with
introduce myself.
Tiffany. Now, here's Tiffany Warner.
Hello, and welcome to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. My name is Tiffany Warner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And today we are going to be discussing preparing our lives for a series of natural disasters. I know a lot of us, if you're listening locally on radio on several stations, have been through one hell of a storm. And emotionally and in reality and as everything with our families, worrying about families and loved ones from all over the country, all over the world, everything, and other things, handling things like this while going through other grief and loss. Before I introduce, I have a guest calling in, and I'm welcoming callers. If you need any help or guidance at any time, you can call in at 866-826-1340. Once again, that's 866-826-1340. I'll have that across the screen in just a moment. And you can also leave live feedback and chat throughout the live show. We're live on YouTube at Moments of Clarity with Tiffany, on LinkedIn Live at Tiffany Warner, WERHNER, Twitter at MOC with Tiffany, and Facebook Live on several channels, but you can find it at MOC with Tiffany or Tiffany Warner. Anyway, or listen in, we can call in 866-826-1340, 866-826-1340. And before I get started, I always like to say hi to Ed at Tan Talk Radio. And I know your camera's not working, so hello, Ed.
Just a happy Friday.
I guess. A couple weeks ago, we couldn't go live because lightning struck the station and did a lot of damage. And then how's the station holding up after Hurricane Ian went through?
Everything is good here. We never really lost power, but they are working on the phone lines out at the end of the street. So hopefully that's all good to go.
So I know that, I don't know, I mean, we're Clearwater and Tampa area. That Tuesday night, we're all sitting there biting our nails, boarded up, thinking it's going to be a direct hit. All the news meteorologists were saying this is going to be the storm of the century, quote unquote, catastrophic, everything. And then all of a sudden, it took a little turn south and it went across the state and devastated so many unsuspecting people that we're told, hey, there's nothing to worry about. So many people from Clearwater and Tampa evacuated to areas that got hit. And it's just, and then the station, I thought for sure that we get a lightning storm, then we're off the air, but survives a hurricane. We got very, very, very lucky. Unfortunately, and I would like to dedicate this show to my uncle. He passed away. Right now, I'm supposed to be at his memorial, his service, and it was in Fort Myers. And they had to postpone, my family had to postpone the funeral service because of the catastrophic damage in Fort Myers. And I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to get there from a direct hit in Tampa, but Fort Myers is, my heart goes out to all of them that have everything. My family, and not being able to grieve properly for their father, their grandparents, their husband, spouse, you name it. He was so wonderful to so many people. I'm just going to leave names out of it just for confidentiality, but just imagine going through that, preparing for a funeral, and this happens too, and a direct hit. So anyway, it's almost kind of survivor guilt when you say you feel lucky that it skirted by, and that we didn't have a lot of damage. Like you said, Ed, you didn't have much damage to the station, not even power outage, and there's a lot of homes out there that can't say that.
Still, when you're sitting here and you're waiting and hoping it doesn't hit you, and you're waiting, and somebody summed it up online that said, waiting on a hurricane is like being stalked by a turtle.
Pretty much.
Because, people, we always say we at least with, the big three, with a hurricane, you get warning. You don't get warning when tornadoes or earthquakes, but hurricanes. But then hurricanes are very unpredictable, as you said, that, we were bracing for it. Clearwater was actually named the landing spot for 2 days. And you can't, once it turns, and you have to be careful it doesn't turn back. So you're still waiting. But
1985 Hurricane Elena, I remember that. I was really little, but some of my family lived right on the Gulf of Mexico, and it just sat out in the Gulf. Hurricane Elena in 1985 just sat there, stagnant and just rushed the Gulf into their homes, their condominiums and everything. And I remember going into my grandmother's condominium, and it's a mound of beach sand, and looking down, I remember we all had shovels. I think I'm standing on the dining room table, but we couldn't see it because it was so full of sand, not knowing what a storm will do. It just can do anything. But this kind of reminds a lot of people of Hurricane Charlie in '04, how it was supposed to hit Tampa, then it kind of just went across the state and major destruction for Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda, Arcadia, and then the East Coast too.
The day before it was supposed to hit us, I went and took a lot of photos of the area, especially along the coast, fearing that might not see that landscape for years to come. That's how devastating we knew that this thing was going to be, and it was. I mean, Fort Myers will never be the same for a long time. And you saw where it actually the only access to the island down there, that it actually cut a hole in the access, that the hurricanes make their own path sometimes, that man interrupts, and it comes through, and with one swift evening of devastation just totally changes the landscape as we know it. So we're very lucky not to be in that position, to only have some rain and inconvenience with the electricity, your TV being out, or not being able to watch Survivor or whatever. But there's people out down there that lost everything. So
Funny you named the show Survivor. Anyway, it's just a lot of us are lucky to be alive and to figure out how we can help those that just in a minute lost everything that they had. Not long before we decided to go on live, because we were going to do a replay because I was not going to be in town for my uncle's funeral. And we just said, okay, we might as well do the show and talk about this, because there's so much devastation out there. People just feeling not only survivor guilt, but kind of like WTF. We're true facts. No, it doesn't really stand for that. How did this happen? We were all boarded up. And then I started feeling claustrophobic in my own house, and because the hurricane shutters and everything, my cat's sitting there sitting like, where's the birds and stuff? She wasn't happy. There's no windows you could look out. And then it's almost kind of like, that was it. After all of that. So if I look delirious, it's because I was up watching the news every minute that it was moving. And then going, oh no, no. And just by accident, I was telling some of my friends that everyone in Florida is just hoping it's going to go west. And they're like, well, I'm in Georgia. And another one was in Mississippi, which is west. So it's like, they're all praying for it to come our way. But like, kind of. It didn't. And then, do we take down the shutters? Do we keep them up? I don't know. We did need some rain, but like not like this. And then there's a lot of people that didn't evacuate in time, because most last year, or maybe a couple years, we've had some scares, and then it dissipated into, so I don't think a lot of people took everything as serious as we all could have, Anyway, call in with whatever you would like to feed in. We're going to talk about coping skills for grief, loss, handling compounded grief, and things like that of that nature. Call 866-826-1340, 866-826-1340. And when you call in, say hi to Ed when you do. And my guest sitting next to me there is from by India. That's my friend Jason Thomas. He's a brand identity designer by trade, but also has gone through disasters and things like that. Wouldn't stop uncharging my phone. Are you okay? What's going on? The hurricane hit the news up there or over there, and everyone. I was getting calls from everyone. Tampa, Florida. Are you okay? Are you okay? And sadly, I mean, I'm blessed to be okay, but in just a New York minute, you could have just lost. We could have lost everything. You know. I know that they had mandatory evacuation for A, B, and C, and I think I'm out. I mean, I know I'm past D or E. Like I'm on high ground, but not that far from the water, but high ground. So, what Ed? What level is the radio station? Because you're a little bit closer to the water than my house. I think it's level B, Tiffany. Oh, okay, Ed. Thanks. So my friend Jason Thomas is from Mumbai, India, and so Jason, tell us a little bit about yourself, and thanks for just chiming in last minute. Like, I think I'm just gonna do.
Absolutely.
Go.
First of all, I just want to say that I'm very grateful to know that you and your family is safe and sound. I'm also very grateful to have heard from Melissa, who is also a close friend of ours. She also stated that she's safe and sound. In fact, she was going towards Orlando, where the storm kind of moved to Orlando area as well. So even though they evacuated, but they encountered it.
A lot of
But I'm
people
I'm
did
glad.
that. They thought I'm gonna just get out of the way, but then the storm kind of went that way. Same with
Yeah, yeah.
me, all that.
Yeah. So I mean, honestly speaking, like I do care about others, like everybody around. But more than that, I do care about the people I know the most. And as long as you guys are safe, including Ed and everybody who is connected with us, as long as you guys are safe, that makes me very happy and blessed to know that you guys are safe and nothing really happened. Okay, now see, we don't really get thunderstorms or hurricane. In where I stay geographically, we do get a lot of rain and can flood a lot. It can cause a lot of damage.
What
Okay,
natural
so
disaster do you get in Mumbai, India?
floods mostly. It's mostly just floods, or but
Most
not
people
not
get
not not
earthquake,
hurricanes.
tornado, tsunami, hurricane, tropical monsoon. They call them
Uh huh.
different areas.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
don't
So
get
I
any
mean, we had it's extreme rain. I think what I have encountered is just extreme rain. Like the buildings crashes, the apartment complexes crash. We have rainwater everywhere. Cars get damaged, houses get damaged, stuff like that.
from from hail. When you say
No, no,
ex-
rainwater. Like it floods, like extreme rain, like too
flooding,
much water. Yeah, flooding.
okay,
Yes.
not
Yeah, that
not
that.
ice kind of rain where it dents your car. It's just too much rain, and all of a sudden you
Oh,
can't.
it just floats. Like the car just floats. Okay, but we don't generally do the kind of stuff which you guys do. For example, when I was speaking to Melissa, she was talking about having sandbags around the house, taking pictures of the house so that they can do insurance claims and all. I think when things happen here, it just goes in the drain. Like we are not prepared at all. If anything happens, we just go with the flow. Not that we don't really care, but we don't have enough room to actually do all these things.
Yeah, you're highly populated in
Yeah,
India, so it's kind of
yeah. And I'm glad that you're actually doing this show for people who are listening in, because I think a lot of people have power outages, and I think radio could be the only way how people can communicate and listen in what's
that's what I was
happening.
worried about. Is that maybe TV went out for a lot of people, power outages, and maybe they have their radio in the car, and that's what we just discussed. But might as well be on the radio, give them something.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I'm do sending my love, support, and prayers to all the people who are out there who are going through this. I don't know if the storm is still active. I have no idea, Tiffany. But if you guys have been hit, I do send my prayers and support to you. If there is anything we can do through our shows, like the one which you do and the podcast which I do, if you want to communicate something to your loved ones, share that you're safe and sound, anything we can do to help you out, feel free to reach out to us, and we would be gladly be able to do that. So yeah,
It's time
so
for
that's
our
what I
break.
want. It's
Um,
already time for our break.
it's really kind of you, Jason, from across the world. But hey, Ed, before we take our break, there's one thing I just was watching on the news, and you see this almost every hurricane or storm, where people go onto the beach because the storm surge basically pulls the water out, so you can see the sand because the water is receding. And they say, "Don't go out there, don't go out there." And then all of a sudden, the water comes in and blast them with the wave or whatever, and they show it over and over and over again. And because no one got hurt, it's kind of funny, but that you see them live doing the same exact thing, and then the newscaster is sitting there going, "People are warned not to be out here like this," and she's standing exactly where she's telling people not to stand. It's just, I don't know. I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's just, I know you know what I mean. Anyway, it's time for a break. Please call in 866-826-1340. If you want to vent about anything you've been through, ask for help and for resources, or you have resources you'd like to give out, or just discuss anything that's on your mind. Sharing your story can always help, and that's what we're here for. 866-826-1340. We'll be back with Moments of Clarity in just a moment. Please stay tuned.
Tiffany Warner. We welcome your input at 866-826-1340. Tiffany will be right back after this.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hello, my name is Lucy Lopes, and I'm a real estate agent that supports ending the stigma on mental health with Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. I am also passionate about helping you buy or sell your home. With times being so difficult, I'm here to help. Contact me at lucylopes.com. That's LUCYLOPES.com. Let me assist you through this pandemic and know that you are not alone.
Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. Living with a mental health disorder is not easy. If you or someone you know are struggling with this, please know it's so important to seek treatment, and I'm here to help. Please visit the website at momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com to view blog posts and resources on this site to help educate and inspire you to take action, because there's no shame in seeking help for mental health. While you're there, please take a few seconds to sign up for my email list. You'll get some extremely valuable educational and entertaining content that can be sent right to your inbox each week. Plus, you'll also get instant and free access to my guide on managing your anxiety. You can also follow me on Twitter at MOC with Tiffany and at Facebook at Tiffany Warner. And once again, the website is momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com. Thank you so much for your support and for listening to your show, because change can only come when we stand together as one.
Are you looking for a great book? If you like to root for the underdog, Joe Potosi's book is a book for you. A real American Odyssey that will grab your attention with its fast-moving narrative. You won't be able to put this masterpiece down. When the Dust Settled by Joe Potosi. Go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or Zulin Press.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
We are back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner. To join in the discussion, call 866-826-1340. Now, here's Tiffany Warner.
Hello, and welcome back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. My name is Tiffany Warner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And today we're talking about preparing our lives for a series of natural disasters inspired by Hurricane Ian that just kind of came through, but also the passing of my wonderful uncle. His service was supposed to be today, which was delayed in Fort Myers. And my heart and soul and everything, my love goes out to especially his immediate family. It's my uncle, but to not be able to celebrate or mourn the grieving of your husband or your father or grandfather because of a natural disaster, or your friend or your uncle, he was a wonderful man and something to somebody, everybody. Too many adjectives to define a really good person. You can't say them all. But having to do that, and then all these people who also were unsuspecting a storm coming their way and came back and have no home. And I don't know, the news, no offense to meteorologists, but I've always told my kids, if you want a career where you make a lot of money guessing, just go and become a meteorologist, be a weather person. It might go this way. You're going to have the storm of the century. You better bunker down. You better get out of here. Go north, south, whatever. And then the storm goes north, south, whatever. It's what a Clystron 9. Like, we're supposed to be warned about this stuff. You watch this devastation on television, and I know that it doesn't even serve exactly what emotions people are going through. Welcome back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. And thank you, Jason, my friend Jason Thomas from Mumbai, India. He is normally a brand identity designer, but also with us throughout the disaster. And he was definitely worried the whole time. Is everything okay? Is everything okay? Is everything okay? We were trying to charge our phones, so making him worry. It's the same thing. Call in for feedback and how anything, grief, loss has affected you, any advice you need, or if you just want to get something off your chest, or how this is what you're going through now, or because I know it hit one of my friends in Jacksonville, so it went across the state, and now I don't know exactly. I think it's hitting South Carolina last I looked, so it's going up the eastern seaboard, and no one predicted that. Anyway, 866-826-1340. 866-826-1340. I usually sing that. I'm not in a really good mood. And sleep deprived. And I don't know, you don't get the bell. Like, I don't know. I'm not in that mood today. Forgive my sour mood.
You're okay, Tiffany. Don't worry about it. You're okay.
We're on live chat. We got Facebook, Mike Bandy. He's like, it's a nice day here in Texas, watching the podcast with a cup of coffee. It doesn't get better than that. I think, Mike, you posted that before you realized what we were talking about. And then he goes, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I see your anguish. And he sends prayers. Kevin Leonard off of Facebook says, good morning. Good morning to you too. Brian 3OC, hello friends, off of YouTube. And I think you're in Miami. You can call in 866-826-1340. See how the weather affected you there. 866-826-1340. And then we got some spam. Who would spam a mental health show talking about despair? For a good time, call whatever. Okay, maybe you need that during your time of despair. I don't know. But like the trash that would do that. Oh my gosh. And then off of LinkedIn, help me out with the name, Jason. Rijin.
Is Rijin Chandran. Rijin.
Hello.
R-I-J-I.
Hello on
Hi
LinkedIn.
there. Yeah.
How
We
are
also
we?
have Girish as well. Yeah. Hi, Girish. Nice to see you.
Oh, hi, Garish. I didn't see that as well. And Garish, good luck today. We have the ceremony for those that voted for Moments of Clarity with Tiffany for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. The ceremony is tonight at 9 at podcastawards.com to find out the winner. I didn't even think about that really until yesterday. Anyway, we placed final 10 in 3 different categories, so we'll find out 3 different times that we didn't win, but I get 3 different trophies. I'm not
Yeah.
anticipating
Three different opportunities.
to lose, but yeah, Harish placed the top 10 in one of the categories as well. A top 10 in one of the categories that had 7 nominees. a lot of competition. I'm just kidding, Grace. Way to go. Congratulations very much. You deserve it. I'm totally kidding. I think I'm in a sour mood and sleep deprived just from staying up watching the news and worrying about my house and my children and my family and everyone everywhere else. So, Garish, please call in 866-826-1340. 866-826-1340. And put that across the screen again, too. Normally, I'm more upbeat and positive. Today, I'm just kind of.
You're doing great, Tiffany. Don't stress too much. In fact,
I'm
if
not
you like,
stressing. I'm
I
just kind of like melodramatic, mellow tone, monotone, whatever. I have a no filter and whatever.
yeah, I know.
You're
A couple
like,
of days
I know,
back.
I know. I'm still your friend, but we all know.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of
866-826.
days back, when the storm was actually moving towards Clearwater, so me and Melissa, we were like, we should do like a small conversation about, because she deals with children a lot, right? Because of her work,
Yes,
and
she's a
she
specialized education consultant.
yeah, and we collectively made like a list. If you like, I can share that if you think the audience would benefit from that conversation.
Well, I don't know what the list is, but let's have it. Let's give it a shot.
Okay.
You've already done it
So-
and you're willing to do it again. I have faith in you. Let's go for
oh
it.
yeah, actually, so based on my research and what Melissa shared with me, the storm has really three stages. The first stage is
Is
before
storm
the
like a
storm.
real storm, or is that a metaphor for something else?
Thunderstorm, I'm referring to thunderstorm, hurricane. So before the storm comes, there are three stages to it. What happens before the storm arrives or the hurricane arrives, and what happens during, and what happens after the storm has passed. So there are three stages. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Okay. So now this content would be specifically for parents who have children. Okay, and if you have children at home who are young, they get pretty scared because the noise of the
Sure.
thunder, the noise
And
of
all the talk before, board up, do this, do that. Like these three
uh-huh.
phases can change dramatically and drastically depending on how the storm goes, though, to be honest, because you can be prepared, scared, whatever, and then it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
happen that way, and then kind of a sense of relief, or nah, nothing's gonna happen. Then oh crap, and then I mean, there's 2 years ago there was, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, there was one of the hurricanes, and my kids were walking around with football helmets and sparring gear on to protect their head, and like then they're like, this isn't gonna be anything, and then
Okay, you mean inside the house?
I put them on a string and flew them on a kite. Oh yes, inside the house.
Why would you wear helmets? Like,
Because they were scared that because sometimes windows blow out and roofs crash. I don't know. They didn't know what to expect. Protect your head.
okay.
It's not something people normally do. That's the funny part. Don't let me get into this with Jason. Oh my gosh. Jason Jason and I were gonna have a show on cultural differences and how he's so lucky that I don't want to mess with him because there's so many times that I could have had him say something so obscene and told him that it was real, and on his own podcast too. And
The thing
I'm like,
about me is
no,
that
no,
I
no.
always take things on face value. So if you say it, I would be like, okay, this might be a thing.
So
Maybe
they
you have
did.
to wear
They,
helmets.
oh my god!
I have like 4 5 helmets at home, so like I'm always prepared. Like, I have variation
They
of
were
helmets which I can
little
wear.
kids. They were just scared. And no, that's not what we do. Not normally. It's although I did see a news broadcaster out in the middle of the storm on the news, and he had one on, like, but he was out in the middle of the storm. Anyway, but that's besides the point. But yeah, we're gonna do another show one time of all the things you can tell your It's almost like a foreign exchange student. I have to tell him, no, this is not. I'm kidding. This is not what we really do. But that's why it's funny.
Yeah, I was always like, I had this question: why do you actually name hurricanes, and why does it have so many female names? Is there
I don't think
something
it's
which
like
is?
that. It's alphabetical order, so you know which one comes first and how far along we are. And if you can Google it. What are the names going to be next year and the next year and the next year and the next year? I
Oh,
don't
so you guys plan names in
know
advance?
us guys. Like I think that that way statistically. And if I'm wrong, please call in 866-826-1340. I am not a meteorologist. All I know is that it goes alphabetical A through Z, and then it starts at like Latin or whatever, alpha, gamma, whatever. Um, Normally we don't get that far, but sometimes we do. Um, but it's so you just pick out names so you can remember what storm's what. And Jason's name's Jaison, so we can think there probably was a
They
Jason.
have a storm in my name.
They might have. You can look it up, but
What?
not with the I. Remember, your parents made a typo, so now we can have one with the Jaison.
Okay, I searched. Yeah, there is a subtropical storm. I think so, but nothing shows up. Oh, there is actually a storm in my name.
Are you googling while
It's,
we're on the air?
yeah. Hmm.
Okay, okay. There's a storm in your name coming up, or there was one.
Oh, there was one. Now it does not give me specifics. I have to dig around a bit to get more insights. Yeah.
I'm surprised, Ian. Like that's a very common name. I'm surprised it hasn't been used yet. But
Yeah, all those people with the
they
name
can have
Ian, like,
hurricanes, and like there's tropical storms, the tropical depression. Depends on how. Ed, you can help me out with this. I'm gonna unmute you, but how how fast the mile per hour winds are. So once it hits 75 mile per hour winds, it turns into a hurricane. But then like lower than that, it's tropical depression. And like I said, I'm not a meteorologist. All I know is that as soon as it starts to get past a certain mile per hour wind, you start to say, oh crap, and prepare. And that's when everyone's like, I need batteries. And I don't even know for what. What do we need batteries for? Nobody even owns a radio. We use our phones for everything. So we were using backup
power
chargers.
bank. So if you have flashlights, I think that's where you use the battery,
I couldn't find any. I did find a
and
lantern.
you can also use battery to start up a fire.
How?
A lot of YouTube videos wherein you can use both the plus and minus terminal to create fire if you need one, like just in case if things go sideways, no power, if you want to cook something, batteries can be used for that. Yeah.
Meanwhile, we blow up our house, but the rain will put it out.
Like, I'm just saying, there are a lot of uses. So
Matches work too. I don't know, or lighter.
I hope
Okay.
it's not. I hope the matches don't get wet, but whatever. I'm just saying, like, so power banks are good. What kind of preparation did you really make, for the storm? So let's actually hear. Like, I don't know what preparations people generally do.
Well, you try to stock up on candles, lighters, toilet paper. You fill up your bathtub. We might as well look up tips on what you're supposed to do. I just know what I do. Charge everything. My phone is my flashlight. I have a lantern I can show you after our second break, which should be any second from camping. So that's a light LED lights that require batteries. Charge everything. Fill buckets up with water in case you lose your water so you can flush the toilet. Um, I have hurricane shutters up. Um, Make sure that you are in contact with all your loved ones, and I don't know, lots of beverages, bottled water, things like that. Ed
Yeah,
just
beer, stuff
Yeah,
like that.
Ed just private chatted as beer. Oh wait, it's not beer. It says break. Oh, my bad. Oh, I guess I am just seeing things. Anyway,
No, I think beer was mentioned by Girish on chat. That's why you noticed.
I didn't look at the chat. I control everything here. So 866-826-1340.
I think one of the coolest thing, Tiffany. I didn't
Before,
mean
wait,
to
wait,
cut you.
wait. Wait, I'm gonna cut you off there because that's a cliffhanger. One of the coolest things, dot, 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 after the break. Let's take our break and we'll be back with Moments of Clarity with Tiffany in just a moment. Please stay tuned.
Clarity with Tiffany Warner after these messages.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
If you are like most people, you worry with the financial challenges you face today. How do you protect your family from financial ruin? How will you reduce your liabilities and get out of debt sooner? And how can you deal effectively with the constant changes in your job, your career, and your business? Overcoming your financial challenges is like building a house. You must build from the ground up. You must learn how to make more money, save more money, grow your money, and protect your money. Forever Forward Financial specializes in teaching you these 4 basic money skills so you can achieve your dreams and end your worry. Call us today and schedule your complimentary, no obligation meeting to discuss your needs and concerns. Call Scott Bigley at 727-422-7761.
Hi, this is your host, Tiffany Warner from Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. I want to thank you for all your support on ending the stigma on mental health for over the past 7 years and with over 600 episodes, as well as several award nominations and placing as a finalist in 3 categories on the People's Choice Podcast Award last year. If you're listening to this on audio, please visit and subscribe to my YouTube channel at Moments of Clarity with Tiffany and enjoy viewing previous shows in case you missed any live. If you're interested in advertising and would like to promote your company, it is affordable and an effective way to get your company the attention it deserves. I also welcome potential guests as well, and all information can be found on my website at mocwithtiffany.com. Thank you again for your continued support, as change can only come when we stand together as one. Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. I'd like to give a shout out to musician-songwriter Don Lawson, who wrote, produced, and performed all the vocals and instruments on my Moments of Clarity theme song. Don gained his inspiration as a mental health counselor himself. He's always looking for artists to record his songs, and you can hear more of Don's music at reverbnation.com/Don Lawson. You can also check him out on Twitter at Don Lawson Music. Thank you so much, Don, for your contribution to Moments of Clarity and ending the stigma on mental health. It's awesome.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Now back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner, licensed mental health counselor. To engage in the conversation, call 866-826-1340. Here's Tiffany.
Hello and welcome back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. My name is Tiffany Warner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor and I'm your host. And today we're talking about preparing for our lives for natural disasters and when things come up and how to grieve. And with me is Jason Thomas from Mumbai, India. Also, he is a podcast host for Brand Identity Design, which has nothing to do with natural disasters, but hosted a show on natural disasters. And when I needed, he just typed in, I have no idea what that means. When I needed a last minute guest, ta-da, ta-da, Jason Thomas to the rescue. Anyway, so you're welcome to call in 866-826-1340. Some people are saying that the lines have been busy, but just keep trying. 866-826-1340. And, not just about the hurricane, but tips for survivors of all kinds, like coping with grief after a disaster or traumatic event is so hard. And grief is the normal response of sorrow, heartache, and confusion that comes from losing someone or something important to you. And grief can also be a common human response after a disaster or traumatic event. And it's sometimes overwhelming reaction to death, divorce, job loss, a move, or loss due to illness, natural disaster, or other traumatic events. And You can experience trembling or weakness, muscle weakness, nausea, and trouble eating, trouble sleeping or difficulty breathing, dry mouth, and may experience nightmares and so forth. Before we went to break, as we were talking about traumatic events, Jason said, I have something to share, and we left it kind of as a cliffhanger. But before we go, I have some tips of how to get through the hard times therapeutically. So, Jason, go ahead before I cut you off to go to the break.
Okay, why don't you do yours, because mine is specifically for children. So I just want to hear what are your tips which you want to share. I think I would want to also write notes. I think it would help me too,
Well,
just to
okay.
be prepared.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to talk slow so you can write this down. I'll just send stuff to you. But it's sometimes an overwhelming reaction to death, divorce, job loss, moving. Sometimes grief is positive stress as well. And when you might notice after through going through something like that, positive changes in yourself from your experience of loss, such as becoming more understanding and tolerant for others, more empathetic, having increased appreciation for relationships and for loved ones, feeling grateful for presence of those in your community who are loving and caring, becoming more socially active, and getting more involved in advocacy to help people who have experienced similar losses. And a lot of people say, well, how long am I supposed to grieve? And it's different for every person, and loss and the matter of death or loss in your personal circumstances can affect how long you want to grieve or you experience grief. If you're experiencing grief now, it might be difficult to imagine an end to the pain, and that it will never stop what you're feeling. But even though your life might not ever be the same as it was before, it does get a little bit better, and it will allow you to accept the loss a little bit more as you move forward with life. There's a lot of things that you can go through, and sometimes people just feel stuck, and after months they feel stuck in deep, overwhelming feelings of loss and experience what's known as complicated or traumatic grief. And that's where you're feeling empty, angry about the death or loss, being unable to think about anything besides the loss of whatever you've gone through, your loved one, or the natural disaster, anything, whatever you're grieving. It can be a thing, a person, a place, and something that was really important to you that you've lost. Unable to want any reminders of that, having nightmares or intrusive thoughts, feeling deep loneliness and longing for the person that you lost or the things that you lost, feeling distrustful of others, feeling unable to maintain regular activities or fulfill your responsibilities, like fatigue, lack of motivation, just not caring about things, pleasure of activities that you used to enjoy, feeling bitterness about life and envying others that are not affected by grief. There's a lot of people that are like, they don't understand what I've been through. I just lost my loved one or my house or lost my dog or whatever, and they don't understand. And even though those people want to be there for you, some people think they don't get it, so they don't understand. And things like not being able to enjoy or remember happy times with that loved one. Sometimes your happy memories repress because it is sad. However, you can move forward and seek help in these things and move forward and begin the healing process. And those memories resurface. They do. Talking to a professional and things like that helps those things resurface. I lost my mother when I was 18. I think a lot of you that listen to the show know that. I lost both of my parents before, like, I think the age of 23, and both of my grandparents in between that while I was in college. And for a long time, I couldn't remember my childhood. I couldn't remember good times. And then you kind of just grow up and you realize, I don't know, you have a little kid that does the same thing and you're saying the same thing and you're like, those aren't my words, but the things I must have been doing when I was little, and then using that. But it does come back with happy times and memories. And we could post crisis hotlines and things like that as well after the show. So, in response to children, Jason, these are just general things of people that are grieving. That it's not, it's kind of like post traumatic stress for veterans. It's not abnormal, it's not uncommon, and you're not weak for feeling this way if it's a natural disaster, a death in the family, or anything like that, okay? Anyone out there. And Jason, we got like 4 minutes, so your dissertation on how children feel, you're gonna have to sum it up to.
Yeah. So, I mean, children do feel very anxious, okay, challenged, especially when some natural calamities are happening. So, they require a lot of reassurance from parents or people who are caretakers of these children. You know, a lot of reassurance make them feel safe, and you have to be cool. Like, you have to keep your cool, because they reflect back. They kind of follow your lead. So, if you yourself are not calm and composed, they would also get anxious. You know, they would try to reflect back the same thing. So if once the storm passes, okay, once things are getting settled in, you would want to go back to these children and just ask them, what do you feel about the storm? You know, are you okay? Encourage them to ask questions and share concerns with them. Okay, reassure them that, the storm is past, things are all right, we're going to go back to business as usual. You also want to give them a sense of encouragement. Tell them that, sometimes these things does happen, and you would want to support as many people as possible. So encourage them to do volunteering work, like, help your neighbors out to recover from the storm, like cleaning the yard, or, just ensuring that, you're being helpful to one another, because it's a community driven process, right? So you want to help each other out, and you want to distill that quality within them. And on top of that, as parents, I think you have to look for signs, physical and emotional, components in a child, which can cause distress. So emotional can be the child being so clingy, they are crying on the edge, refusing to take part in any sort of activities. Physical distress would be like bedwetting or toilet accidents, headaches, sleeping issues, nightmare, or changes in any sort of behavior. So I think you just have to look for these things, and just help them to recover from it. And not just your children or your family members. If you see anybody else in distress, who is your neighbor, somebody who you might be going just to buy a cup of coffee, if they have grief, be empathetic and see if you can show them a little compassion and support. I think it just helps that way. And as you always say, that, change can only come when we stand together as one, and I strongly believe in it. Yeah, I'm gonna pause there.
I love how you quote me. Um, I was thinking of doing some sort of outreach for the children in the area that we got lucky, and maybe have them, write a card to a child that wasn't so lucky, send it out there, and find some sort of resource that they can receive a note from another child saying, a picture or a drawing or something, knowing that they're not alone, something like that, and it would help the child sending it as well as the child receiving it. I was thinking of some sort of outreach, such along those lines. But so if anyone has any um, resources or ideas, just instant message me at probably Instagram, MOC with Tiffany, MOC with Tiffany.com. Instagram. It's
Yeah.
too
I
much.
just want to say one last thing, Tiffany. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Whoever is out there, it's always good to be prepared for the worst. So don't think that everything is going to be safe and sound. Things can always go sideways. So just be prepared, even if you think there is no need, because nature can be very, very unpredictable. At one shot, like the example which you shared, at some point you felt that, where you stay could be a threat, and it just shifted, it just moved, it just went somewhere else. So
It's
they
been
prepare for the
a
unexpected.
couple years. I mean, like from like it's a whole thing. Like from pandemic to elections to like all the riots. You can name it. Oh my gosh! Like people are gonna be like, "When next? Oh, we're gonna hit catastrophic Category 4 hurricane in a little bit too." And then like, what next? Oh, don't ask what's next. Don't ask. Never ask what's next. So it's always could be something else. But my heart goes out to everyone who has been affected by the storm, and especially my family that has been affected by the loss of their father, spouse, grandfather, my uncle, and then not being able to celebrate the life that they had with him because of this. And I'm sure that they're not the only ones. And I wasn't able to be there. So I don't think you can even get into Fort Myers right now, unfortunately. So we will see you next Friday. If anyone has any issues, anything like that, please reach out. I'll post some resources and for shelters and things like that of that nature. Please be kind to yourself and to a stranger. You never know what they're going through. And we really don't know. So, see you guys next Friday. Thank you, Jason, for being here. Everyone, just be grateful for what you do have.
Clarity. Moments of clarity. Now I get it. Moments of clarity. To yourself.
And thanks again.
Don't put yourself down. Time for a change. Believe in yourself. Time to rearrange. Be your best friend. Bring hope to your day. Lose your critic. Get out of your way. Now it clicks. Moments of clarity. Now I hear moments of clarity. Now I get it, moments of clarity. To yourself be kind, it will please your mind. Find your joy, trust in you. Put in the time, you'll see how you grow. Many kinds of love you get to define. Find self-love, your soul will align. Now it clicks, moments of clarity. Now I hear moments of clarity.